You're listening to Trek FM.
Hello and welcome to From There to Here, Trek FM's 50th Anniversary Rewatch of Star Trek, in which we look at all 729 episodes from beginning to end. I'm Mike.
And I'm Richard.
And today we're going to be talking about 2 episodes of Voyager, Twisted and Parturition. So let's get started with Twisted. Now this is the one where they run into some sort of weird anomaly thing, and like the ship is getting all twisted and they can't find where to go, and like Janeway gets like warped into something and now she's like speaking in tongues or something like that, and hijinks ensue. So what did you think about Twisted?
Definitely a weird episode. I mean, what they had rooms that were on one deck that were right next to another room that was another deck, and then it constantly changes, and to finish the whole entire episode, I mean, basically it's all them going all over the place, getting lost, trying to figure out how this is, and then it's this phenomenon that apparently is engulfing the ship, or in the sense it's going to implode the ship, and all they really had to do was let the whole entire thing go by them. It's like, okay. Yeah. Definitely a weird episode.
It's weird, I mean, like you hear them talk about like how, like one of the things about Voyager was, they said that this was supposed to be the weird shit show, right? Where there would be a lot of like crazy things happening in the Delta Quadrant and we don't know what's going on. And, I mean, I think that's, Brandon Braga, I think, is someone who really likes this type of stuff. Joe Manoski is another person who really likes this type of stuff. So, it's to be expected that they would have episodes like this where it's really not about, what the cause is or whatever. It's more about, what the weird phenomenon is. It's to the journey, I mean, that's what they were sort of like going for. And I mean, here, in particular, where it's like, what's the solution? It's like, well, we just sit here and wait. Okay, well, that worked. Good. But I mean, it was more about like the problem. It's like, let's look at some weird, crazy stuff, which, I'm all for in general, because like my philosophy is like, if you do weird, crazy episodes like this, you're going to get somewhere you're just like, that was completely pointless. Like this one, for example. And it's like, oh, that was weird. Yeah. And there's not really much more going on there. But there's going to be, the rare occasion where you come across something where you're going to be like, oh my God, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never thought about that. My mind is blown. This is the best episode in the history of Star Trek, So, I'll take the occasional twisted in order to get, the even rarer but more beautiful, Darmok or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It was fun enough to kind of see them try to work out this problem. But at the end of the day, you look at it and you're like, that was kind of pointless,
Yeah, and it definitely was. I mean, I could see when the first, or from what I remember, watching this show for the very first time, it was like, huh. And it's like, what the hell is going on? I mean, this is here, this is there. It's like, it was very confusing at first. And, but I mean, obviously, it's definitely, for me, it's a one-time episode, because obviously I already know what happens at the end. And it kind of spoiled the fun for me watching it again. But that's me.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems with these things. And, I mean, sometimes you look at stuff like, let's say The Sixth Sense, where it's like the first time you see it, you're like, oh, my mind is blown. But then when you watch it the second time, it's like, does it still hold up? Is there still stuff there to, even if you take away the twist, is there still? If you take away the twist
Twisted.
from Twisted, does it still work? And in the case of like Sixth Sense, yeah, it totally still works. In the
For me,
case
it
of
was
Twist,
Along Came a Spider.
yeah, I've only seen
Yeah.
that movie. I've only seen that movie once. I have to say, I
Yeah,
don't
I only saw
remember
that
it
movie
at all.
once too, and it's like as soon as I found, obviously the ending, it just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not watching this again, but it was good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have to watch. I've never seen Kiss the Girls either. That was the first one, right?
Yes,
Kiss the
yes,
Girls. I did see the what's the name of the character? I forget. But they just rebooted it with Tyler Perry. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Oh my god, it was so bad. It's not even funny. Actually, it's very funny, but it's terrible. Yeah, check out that movie. It's
Okay,
twisted.
everyone, check that out. Along with Star Trek.
There's a Star Trek connection because Tyler Perry, he was in the first movie that he starred in that he didn't like produce himself was Star Trek, and the second movie was this movie whose name I can't remember. James, what's the character's name? He's like a famous detective guy. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's a bad movie. Really, whatever. Twisted, way better, but still not very good.
No,
All right. Well, should we move on to the second episode for today?
we should.
Parturition. Now, this is the episode where Neelix and Paris, who have been fighting over Kess for a while now, it comes to a head, and they need to go down to this planet to get what they think is like food. And they go down there, and they get trapped in a cave where they find a little baby lizard human thing, which hatches.
Lizard baby.
Yes, a lizard baby, exactly. And they need to the original lizard baby, right?
There you go.
Because this is pre-threshold, I think.
Yes.
So they need to team up to nurse this lizard baby back to health and all that.
The
other
very
stuff.
toxin that gives them the rash of some sort.
Exactly. Yep. So what did you think of Parturition?
With food supplies running low and everything, you would think that they would not throw spaghetti at each other and whatnot. But, obviously, bringing them closer together, what the whole lizard baby story had to be there. Some kind of event would have to bring them together and to work together and think and whatnot. But I mean, I thought it was a fun episode. I mean, seeing those two go at each other for something that on Paris's side, he says there's nothing there, but reality is that there is. But he also respects Neelix enough to, I guess, tell him in the end that he has feelings for Cass, that is, and not to actually go after, court her. Definitely, it shows somewhat respect for Neelix as a friend as well. So, for overall, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good episode too. Like looking at these episodes, kind of watching them in quick succession for this rewatch, you do see them like setting it up. There's a few episodes, in a row where Neelix is like, I don't trust that Paris guy. He's up to no good, and Kess and everyone is like, you're crazy. You're super jealous, and this is saying way more about you than it is about him or anything else. And you know what? You just need to back off. And then here, this episode starts with Paris being like, oh my God, I have a thing for Kess. And it's like, oh, well, okay. Sorry, Neelix. Didn't mean to.
That's right. Yeah, because in Twisted, Paris gave Kess the necklace to, I guess, put a photo in, or whatever necklace is called.
Right, the little locket thing.
Thank you, locket. Yeah. And he gets all jealous. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did a good job of setting that up, and then here, it's like, oh, you guys got to work together. Janeway's like, work it out between you. You go down to this planet together. And I think like bringing in the little baby lizard was cool. It was cool that they kind of like had that thing where they do have to work together. And these episodes, they can go horribly wrong, but I think in this case it actually worked. And part of the reason why it worked for me was because I don't know, I think that baby lizard is adorable. I'm just like, oh, it's so cute. Why don't they make like a little stuffed lizard baby? And I felt bad for it. They're like, it's dying, it can't get, and just like the whole, that whole thing. I was totally invested in that storyline. I'm like, I hope it finds its mom, and all this stuff. I was totally on board with that storyline, and I think that on the whole, it is a pretty good episode, and it was a good way to sort of resolve the conflict between Neelix and Paris.
Yeah, that puppet looked like it was something from Dinosaurs. I don't know if you saw that puppet show.
He's the baby. Gotta love it.
Not the mama.
No. That show, Dinosaurs. No, it's such a good show. That show is a weird show. Like, there's an episode in there where they create war. Like, they invent war. They're like, we're doing this thing. We're fighting with these other people. What are we calling it? We're calling it war. And they're like, war? What's that? And I mean, it's like, wow, this is like social commentary coming from the, Muppet dinosaur thingy, whatever. Okay, cool. Let's do this then. Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good show.
Honestly, all I remember is having the little Earl doll, whatever the father, whatever. Not the father, whatever his name is. And, that's all I remember about that show.
Yeah, I don't remember much about it either, but, I've gone back and done some research, and, that was a crazy show. I want to go back and watch the whole thing. So, maybe one day. Maybe that'll be next year's project. This year we're rewatching all of Star Trek. Next year we'll rewatch all of Dinosaurs.
Well, isn't it on Netflix? Or it is on Netflix now, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I had the same exact thought as you. I'm like, this is it's the baby from Dinosaurs. Yeah, but it's cute. It's cute. All right. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps up Twisted and Parturition. So, Richard, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at xransom and also on the Babel Conference.
And you can find me right here on Trek FM doing Stage 9, which is a show where we look at the people who make Star Trek. I do that with John Mills. And you can also find me on Twitter at Mumbles3K. So that takes care of these 2 episodes for today, but Richard and I will be back tomorrow to talk about 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, The Visitor and Hippocratic Oath.